So we are starting with the new topic, that is loop. So loop is a very important in programming. It is used to repeat a block of statements for certain number of times when you don't want to write the statement again and again manually. So there we use loops. So there are various types of loops are there: while loop, do while loop, for each loop. So they have different tasks to perform. So we'll see that this is where the code starts and this is where the terminating statement is. When it starts, it enters the condition of that loop, and if it is true, it will execute the code block. Then again it will come, and again if the condition is true, again it will go in a cycle. This is what is called loop is. If that condition fails, then it will terminate here. So that is the thing. So three things we write in loops. We do initialization and we declare some variable with that and we give initialize that value. Then after that we give some condition to it and we update the code. So that's how it happens. Now we'll see what does for loop means. So it contains three sections. First one is, that is index declaration, and within that we'll give initialize the value also. That's why its init is written. This is initialization of that declared variable, and that condition will be there. That is the second thing for the in the for loop. And third thing is updation. So this condition, till the condition satisfies, it will be in this cycle. When the condition doesn't satisfy, it will fail and it will terminate that loop, and it will come out of the loop and it will not execute this code block. So we'll see this when we go through the examples. We'll see 2-3 examples with that. Typically for loop is used when we know that how many iterations are there. When we see the other loops like while loop or do while loop, there we don't know how many iterations are going to be there. What do we mean by iterations? That we're going to see when I go to the VS Code. Now let's jump to the VS Code. Now we will see the demo of the for loop. So for that I'll create another file again and I'll write for loop.cpp. After I give enter, so here we'll be writing the program display hello world 10 times. So in normal method, if you would have done this, so it would have taken 10 lines of code that see out hello world, see out hello world, but that's not what we want. That is a repetitive task, so we're going to do with the for loop. As in for loop, we already know that there are going to be three things, so we'll understand that. Before that, what we're going to do is I'll write the header file #include iostream using namespace std, and I'll create one main function. This is how we create a main function. Done. Now what I have to do is I have to write a for loop. So what is the syntax for loop? We write the keyword for, and inside that what we do is we will declare one variable and we will initialize with some value, right? So for that what I have to write, I'll write int, and we generally take I as that variable and we'll initialize with 1 and we'll give semicolon here. This is what initialization of that variable. Declaration, then initialization. Int I is what? Declaration, that I is of integer type, and initialize with value 1. Then after we have to write the condition. So we want to print 10 times, right? So I is that variable less than equals to 10, and then semicolon again, and we'll update the statement I plus plus. So this you have studied in the operators. I plus plus means nothing. It is just I plus plus means, I'll just comment it out here. I plus plus is equivalent to I equals to I plus 1. It means we are just incrementing the value by 1. So if it is starting from 1, then we'll check 1 is less than 10, okay. And I plus plus, it will update. I plus plus means it will add, 1 was there, 1 plus 1, that will become 2. So it will update it to second iteration. So here how many iterations are there? Total 10 iterations are there. This is the starting point, this is the ending point. Basically you can think that in a range way. So this is the starting part of that range and this is the ending part of that range. And I plus plus is for updation of that iteration, right? Then what I have to write is, inside that I have to write the code block. So what is the code block? I want to print hello world 10 times. That is what our code block is. So I'll take the value here and I'll write cout, and inside that I'll be writing hello world, and I'll be giving enter statement. So every line will be coming by enter line, and at the last I'll be writing return 0. Alright. What will this code do? It will print hello world 10 times. It will print hello world 10 times. So before running the code, I have to save it because white dot is coming. So I'll enter command control S. So it is now saved. Okay, now I'll run the code. So when I run the code, if you see, it printed hello world 10 times. What I'll do is I'll clear it, and what I'll do, I'll click on here, right click, and I'll move to the move panel to right. So it will look good now. Now here, if I run the code again, now for better visibility, you see 10 times. If I change value from 10 to 30, it means the loop, and I'll control S, I'll do control S, then I'll run the code again. Then you can see it printed hello world 30 times. So this is the use of loop. This is one example we saw. We'll see lots of examples with loops. 2-3 examples of loops we'll see. Okay. Next, I'm going to take another example. Now, suppose we want to see more examples of for loop, and we want to print first 100 natural numbers in this loop. So what I'll do, I'll create one file again, and I'll write for loop 2.cpp. So I'll make this small, for loop 2.cpp. All right, hit enter. Now we came here. Now we want to, what's our aim is, print first 100 natural numbers. It means we want to print from 1 to 100, right? Again, what I have to do, I have to include the header file, include IO stream, that is input output stream. For cout scene, we are using IO stream. Then we'll be using namespace std. Then we'll write a main function, int main. Return type is what? Integer, int main, and there we'll be writing the code inside this main function. Then we'll write the for loop again. For, that is the for is the keyword, and this is how the syntax is. In the round bracket, we write everything. So I'll declare that variable int I equals to 1 again. This is what declaration and initialization with the, what is the first from where we are starting. Then I'll give the condition I is less than equals to 100, because we want to print first 100 natural numbers. So what is the starting point? Starting point is 1 and 100 is the last point. All right. Now moving to next, that is we'll be updating to I++. Now for inside this loop, I'll give parenthesis to it. Then I'll be writing cout, and here I'll be printing first 100 natural numbers. So I is that variable which is storing some numbers. So I'll be printing I, and I'll give some space to it. Otherwise everything will be coming together. So that's why this space I have used. Alright. I'll end the statement, and after coming out of this loop, I'll be returning 0, and I'll save it, Control S. Now if I run this code, it should print 1 to 100. You see, it is printing from 1 to 100. Alright, one thing I need to show you, if I change from 1 to 30, so you'll see 30 will be the starting point. It will be printing from 30 to 100. And if I Control S, save, and if I run the code, it is printing from 30 to 100. Alright. So this is what a for loop does. So I do not need to print 30, 31, 30 every statement. So it will take, if I want to print 100, then it will take 100 lines of code, but it is doing within 3 lines of code. You can play with this with many things. Like if I use multiplied by here 10, it means every number will be getting multiplied by 10. If I run this code, if I save it, and if I run this code, you see all numbers are getting multiplied by 10 because I've used I multiplied by 10. Okay, how the iteration is happening? So 30 is the first it's going to print. Okay, it printed 30 into 10, there is 300. What happened is it went here, 30 is less than 100. Okay, happened. Then condition satisfies, so it will be in the loop, and it printed. Now 30 becomes 31 because I plus plus is written. I plus plus is what? 30 plus 1. So 31 it became. Then it is going to come here again. 31 is less than 100. Yes, it is less than 100. Again the loop will happen. This cout statement will be executing. So it is executing. When I becomes 100, 100 is less than equals to 100. Yes, it is less than 100. That is equals to, right? So in that equals to sign we can use. So 100, and here updation I becomes 101. So that is printed for 100 also, that is 1000 because multiplied by 10 also. But when it becomes 101 and it goes here I as 101, 101 is less than equals to 100. That is false. So that means this for loop execution will be terminated and return 0 will be done. So that way this will terminate the loop. This is the one example of loop. We can do the addition of the first 100 natural numbers also. So we'll see that example now. I'll clear this. So I'll create another one file and write again for loop3.cpp. So we're going to write a program that is going to print sum of 100 natural numbers, 200 natural numbers, whatever you want. You can play with this code. So what our code is going to be? Sum of natural numbers. Again, what I have to do? I have to use the header file hash include iostream. Then using namespace std, same thing we're going to write again and again. And in the main function, we'll be writing the code. Alright. Now, what I have to do is, we have to find the sum of natural numbers. What are the natural numbers we define? So here we have to take two variables. That is the number we're going to take and the sum. Whatever the sum come, we need to store those sum also, right? So what we will be doing is, I'll be creating num one variable and another variable as sum, and I'll initialize sum with value that is 0. I am assuming that sum initially is 0. Now what I'll say, I'll use the cout statement and I'll say enter positive integers. So I'll say enter positive integer. All right, then I'll end the statement. Here I'll be taking input from the user. Here I'll be taking input from the user. So num is the variable, right? After that, I'll run the for loop and it will do the addition automatically. So what I have to write? I'll write the for loop and I'll initialize the value. We are taking I as the iterating variable, I equals to 1. Then what I will be doing is I is less than equals to num, because that is what here we are not giving directly value, we are taking input from the user. In our previous examples we directly gave 100 or 20. So we are just customizing few things. We are taking input from the user. If user wants 100 here, so that will be 100. If user wants 50 here, that will be 50. If user wants 1000 here, that will be 1000. So that will be added accordingly. All right. So we are customizing our code bit to higher level. Then I have to update the statement also. Then what I will do inside this, what I have to do? I have to do the addition. So I'll write sum equals to sum plus I. It don't get confused that how sum equals to sum plus I would be. In programming, this is not equals to, this is what? Assignment operator. This is assignment operator, not equals to operator. In programming, equals to operator means we use two assignment operator. That means equals to. Right now, this is going to be updated. Sum plus I is going to be assigned to sum. Every time it run the loop, it will get updated and sum will get updated and will get the end result. So this is the actual logic of it. This sum equals to sum plus I. After that, what I have to print the sum also, right? What is stored in the sum? So I'll be writing cout statement and I'll be writing sum is, and I'll give colon to it. Then here I'll be writing what is it is in stored, that is stored in sum, and I'll end the statement here, end L. All right. So, and at the last of this statement, I'll return 0. So this code will help us to add all natural numbers till wherever we want. We are taking input from the user, right? So if I want num to be 100, so it will be adding from 1 to 100. If I want 1000, so it will be adding 1, 2, 3, 4. All things will be added till 1000. So I'll save the code. So this dot gone. Then I'll run this code. It is asking for the positive integer. Let me enter 100. So it means sum of first 100 natural numbers is going to be 5050. Now if I run this code again, it is asking for positive integer again. If I want to see sum of first 1000 natural numbers, so that is 500 500. This is the what result is. You can initialize the value from anywhere. We are adding first 100. You can add from 90 to 100 also. That is also fine. So you have to change the initialize value from here, right? So this is the end of taking examples of for loop. Then we'll move to the while loop. Then I will take examples again. Thank you.